What's up, everybody? My name is Anthony. Welcome to another special edition of the Wrestling Madness podcast. It is another EPW special. I am going to be talking you through what happened April 19th in Bishop Auckland. Actually, let me scratch that. April 18th in Bishop Auckland. And I got this from the YouTube page. All the links are in the description for the matches and whatnot. So go and see it for yourself. If you're hearing this on the YouTube page, download it on the Wrestling on iTunes. Download it on iTunes, and be sure to download it as well on Podomatic. Check out that Podomatic channel as well. All the links will be in the description, like I say. But without further ado, I will get into the first match of the card, which was the Monster Destroyer versus the Asylum. The Monster Destroyer versus the Asylum. Now, this match was a good way to kick off the show. A good way to kick off the show indeed. And I have to admit, considering the sizes, the Monster Destroyer, from what I saw, wrestled a smart match. Now, he got control early on in the match by chopping the big monster down to his size, by working on the legs and doing a good job in doing it as well. And like the old expression says, they're all the same size when they're flat on the back, so to speak. And he stayed control of the match and had his moments early on. The Asylum had his moments earlier on, using his size to take down the Master Destroyer, but the Master Destroyer's dirty tactics made him stay one step ahead of his enemy. And like I said, the Master Destroyer did wrestle a smart match. The Master Destroyer always was one step ahead and remained in control, testing the ref's limits, testing the dominance of him as well, because the referee could have disqualified him at a couple of points as well. But still, they're using the dirty tactics and grounding the monster turned the control that the Master Destroyer had into dominance. And the points where I believe the Master Destroyer went to the top rope, and I believe he hit him with an elbow from what I saw. I believe it was a diving elbow, but it kind of looked like a diving forearm that Austin used to do off the second row kind of thing. But either way, it was effective. And then he went up the top again and hit a splash, and I know that was effective on the big monster. But like I say, the monster eventually got back into it and got control of the match. Diving clothesline by the monster, which got him back into control of the match. But again, the Master Destroyer was able to regain his dominance of the match. And from what I saw, pretty much, Master Destroyer was in firm control of this match throughout it. And like I say, he regained the dominance, and one mistake got the Asylum back into it, and the Asylum managed to get a near fall by using a choke slam bomb, which was, I believe, a Baldo bomb sort of move. If you've seen Albert Tenzai, he used to grab by the throat, both hands by the throat, lift him up and just drop him on the thing, a power bomb kind of move. It was a very effective move. And then towards the end, the Master Destroyer rigged the eyes as the Asylum was looking to take control, ducks a clothesline from the Asylum, only to run into a black hole slam, and the Asylum picked up the victory, picked up the W, so to speak. And yeah, it was a great way to start the show. Good match, and that's what you need to start any show you do. You need a good match to start the show, because that sets the bar. And the Asylum picked up a major victory over the Master Destroyer. But hell, credit to the Master Destroyer. Say he wrestled a smart match, but like the old saying it goes, you make one mistake, it's going to cost you. And he did. He did in that respect to the Master Destroyer. The next match on the card was Supermark versus Crazy Chris Diamond. The match was a great match, another great match, at least from what I saw anyway, in my opinion. The match started with a feeling out process with a game of one-upmanship, chain wrestling. Basically one-upmanship, meaning can you top this? Supermark's manage is to get some sort of advantage till Chris goes outside to slow it down. That's a mark of an experienced wrestler, I suppose. Slows the pace down a little bit and goes outside to regain control and stops any momentum that Supermark was trying to build. Chris then gets control by throwing Supermark on the outside himself, body slams him on the floor. Then he throws him back into the ring and continues the beatdown. Chris, now I'll give credit where credit is due here by Crazy Chris, because Chris hit a beautiful Greetings from Asbury Park, an old Bam Bam Bigelow finishing move, which I believe was used by Rikishi on a few occasions as well. I believe Rikishi called it the Rikishi driver, to get a near fall, but like I say, it was beautifully done. Supermark regained control by countering or capitalizing on a mistake by Chris, getting a flying head scissors on him. But Chris, not to be outdone, got back into the match and hits a backbreaker and gets a near fall and makes a mistake to allow Supermark into the match, who hits a top rope elbow on him and gets a near fall himself. Chris then went to the top rope after getting control back of the match and hits a beautiful leg drop. Perfectly executed leg drop. Yes, you heard me right. It was perfectly executed, and gets gets a near fall, and turned into a bit of a kind of worry kind of thing of how he was going to put Supermac away, because the offense that Chris was putting on, from what I saw, I think he got into a point where he didn't know how to put Supermac away. Supermac then goes to the top rope himself and hits a beautiful drop kick. Not a perfect one, but it was effective. And hey, it doesn't have to be perfect, like I've said in the past, no matter what moves you do, as long as they're effective. With a little help, though, from the Scottish Terriers applying a distraction, both of them going around the ring like Nexus, so to speak, going in the ring. Supermac was able to hit one of them and knock them down. Supermac was distracted by the other member of the Scottish Terriers, and Chris was allowed to roll up and get a handful of trunks in the process, but still manages to get a victory over Supermac. Now, the beatdown continued, only for the monster Asylum to come out and stop any further beatdown. And Supermac challenged the Scottish Terriers to a tag team match, saying that he had one more match in him for that night and he wanted revenge on the Scottish Terriers, and he challenged them to a tag match, Supermac's partner being Asylum. The Scottish Terriers accepted, and that match was later on in the show, which I'll get to later. Now, a non-title EPW match, which is non-title meaning the title wasn't up for grabs, featured the reigning champion at the time, Doug Williams, versus, oh boy, my favourite person, and I use that term loosely, Prince Ameen with Vixen. Now, again, just like at the April 19th show, like I say, I wasn't at this show and I saw this on YouTube. Again, at the April 19th show, Prince Ameen seems to have this thing about running his mouth off before the match. Instead of getting on with it, he just proceeds to run his big mouth off. When I wrote down in my notes here, it said Prince running his big mouth off before the match. Yawn. He just doesn't know when to stop. He really doesn't. Prince starts the match by running his mouth and taking his time getting in the ring, basically antagonizing the crowd. He spent more time antagonizing the crowd and instead of getting in the ring, and he took his sweet time doing it, trying to frustrate Doug, but I think Doug was having none of it. When the match got started, Prince got an advantage till Doug started to take control of the match and controlled the Prince, controlled him with his basic wrestling and his style that in a way frustrated him. Like I say, frustrated the Prince because the Prince managed to bail to the outside of the ring and Doug chased him back into the ring. Doug elbowed the Prince, then the Prince bailed again on the outside. Then Doug saw an opportunity to try and get him back in the ring by pulling his hair, but the Prince was managed to get away from it. Proceeded to grab the leg of the EPW champion and proceeded to start working on it, grounding the British legend, and controlled it and then from that point on, the Prince controlled that match from there on in. Also, from that point on, as it went to the outside again, but this Doug managed to get control of Prince Ameen by delivering uppercuts and elbows and that on the outside, rocking the Prince, the big mouth Prince. But then, surprise, surprise, the big mouth jerk Prince tries to get an advantage by using his manager Vixen. God, I hate this dude, I really do. The way he disrespects her, the way he gobs. The guy's got a big mouth, he desperately needs it shut, and trust me, he needs someone to go in there and zip him shut for a while or zip him shut forever. But the dirty tactic that he used by using his manager as a distraction worked, because it allowed the Prince to get back control and get back to working on Douglas's leg, grounding British wrestler. It eventually got back into the ring and the Prince got control of the match and went for his finish out, I believe, but Doug was able to counter him, and then the Prince got back up, took a swing at Doug. Doug ducked and proceeded to give him a side suplex sit-out powerbomb move, which got the pin and the 1-2-3, and Doug Williams giving the big mouth jerk, yes, you heard me right, Prince Ameen, what he probably deserved. God, I hate that guy. Thank you, Doug, for beating him. Now, a match that was made earlier on during the Asylum, not the Asylum match, I apologise, the Supermac and Crazy Chris Diamond match, which was the Asylum and Supermac versus the Scottish Terriers. The Scottish Terriers tried to match power with the Asylum, making huge mistakes in that department. Whether they were trying to make the big man make a mistake or not, I don't know. But they were looking to match power with him, but the big monster was having none of it and overpowered the Scottish Terriers. The Scottish Terriers did manage to ground the monster and take control, working on the leg, being very smart about it. Like I said earlier on, they're all the same size when they're flat in the back, tagging in and out and using smart tag team wrestling and using Supermac to get the ref's attention, basically antagonizing Supermac, forcing him to come in and then taking advantage of the distraction caused by the referee trying to get Supermac out. And either way, they had a 5 count doing it, but it's always easy to do it that way. The Asylum tried to mount a comeback, but the Scottish Terriers, again, wrestling a smart match, obviously saw what Max Destroyer did earlier on, using the leg as a proverbial bullseye. And one of the Scottish Terriers hit a beautiful kimono. Brock Lesnar's UFC move was used on the Asylum, tried to wear the guy out. And for most of the match, though, it was the Asylum that was basically fighting 2-on-1. You basically fighting 2-on-1, because they couldn't tag, he either couldn't tag him in, Supermac in, is what I meant to say, couldn't tag him in, or he just couldn't get to him. Either way, Supermac was on the apron, dying to get in, but couldn't get in, and the Scottish Terriers didn't allow it. And I'll go on record and saying that the Scottish Terriers showed total dominance in this match. They really did. But the Asylum managed to get a tag, Supermac coming in, a fresh Supermac, and came in and started to unload on the Scottish Terriers, hitting a flying elbow as well on the Scottish Terriers as well. And they both got their move on each other, on the Scottish Terriers as well. Supermac hitting the Daniel Bryan knee, and Asylum coming in as well to hit the other member of the Scottish Terrier with a black hole slam. Supermac hitting the Daniel Bryan knee, like I said, and getting the 1-2-3, and getting some sweet revenge on the Scottish Terriers for causing him to lose against Chris Diamond. And the Scottish Terriers went out losers, and the Big Monster and Supermac, the Big Monster, Asylum and Supermac managed to go out with a win. Like I say, sweet revenge for Supermac. Now for the Royal Rumble. Oh yes, the Royal Rumble, the main event of the show, which was contested by 9 competitors. The Mass Destroyer, I believe it was Kid McCormy, but he was a kickboxer. Like I said, if that's wrong, if I got that wrong, I apologise. But like I say, the links are in the description if you're watching this on YouTube, so you'll be able to see for yourself. Yeah, but he's a kickboxer type of guy. He wasn't on the card. He just appeared in the Royal Rumble. Almost caused Mass Destroyer to get eliminated on occasions, and I don't think the Mass Destroyer knew what hit him during the first couple of seconds when they're having the one-on-one, because this kid's got some good agility on him, no doubt. With the monkey flip he was doing, the way he got in, the way he used his kicks and the kickboxing style. Yeah, he's got some quickness on him. Like I say, it was Mass Destroyer, the kid, and the Scottish Terriers were in there as well. Sam Saw, I believe that is. Like I say, if I got that wrong, I apologise. Supermark was in there. Crazy Chris Diamond, the Monster Asylum, and yes, my proverbial friend himself, Big Mouth, Prince Ameen. Despite the fact a little blooper from what it seemed, a little blooper again from the ring announcer, but I'll get to that in a minute. The Mass Destroyer was eliminated by the Asylum. The Kid McCormick, like I say, if I get that wrong, I apologise. Kid was eliminated by Chris Diamond. Both Scottish Terriers were eliminated by the Asylum, although one of the Scottish Terriers was not just eliminated by the Asylum, he was also eliminated by Supermac as well. Both of them eliminated him. Sam Saw was eliminated by the Prince. Supermac was eliminated by Vixen. Yes, Vixen. Not Prince Ameen, Vixen. Chris Diamond was eliminated by Supermac. I suppose a little bit of revenge for Crazy Chris beating him earlier on. Prince Ameen was eliminated by the Asylum, leaving the eventual winner, Asylum. Now, the blooper that I want to mention was when the Prince Ameen come out. This is what I saw on YouTube. Prince Ameen coming out, and apparently the ring announcer who was introducing the wrestlers as they were coming out, apparently he thought Vixen was going to take part in the Royal Rumble. Yeah, absolute blooper, to say the least. But other than that, it was a good show. I enjoyed it for what it was. Was it better than April 19th? No. Yeah, but other than that, good show, good matches all around. Royal Rumble wasn't the best match on the card, but it was okay for what it was. Yeah, but other than that, good show. I enjoyed watching it. And with that being said, that's the end of this special edition of the podcast. If you want more information on EPW, like I said, the links will be in the description. Go to epwwrestling.co.uk if you want to be a wrestler, if you're in the Middlesbrough area, or you can get to the Middlesbrough area. All the information there for the training and whatnot. Get the merchandise. There's merchandise on there as well. They have their own merchandise stores as well. And until then, until next time, until another EPW special, my name is Anthony Walker. You've been listening to the Wrestling Matters podcast, EPW special. Until next time, goodbye.
Well, enough is enough, and it's time for a change. Are you ready?
It is Sunday, and you're listening to the Sunday Segway Wrestling Podcast.
Give me a hell yeah! Get some love! Ooh, yeah!
With Kenny Killer.
Hey, yo! We're in the big D tonight, baby, and we are live! Woo!
I'm the goddamn Sugar Shoe.
The best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be! Cause that's the bottom line! The Stone Cold Simpson!
Download the Sunday Segway Wrestling Podcast now at iTunes.